What's going on, friends? Happy Thursday. Thank God Thursday's almost over, and then tomorrow's Friday. Weekend's here, thank God. Um, Great weekend last weekend. I thought we had a great weekend. Full weekend of college football finally. After that little pre-weekend we had, they call week zero. Some good games, surprises, some shocks. We'll get to all that, and then we'll go over some of the interesting games coming up this weekend. Before we get started, news. Got some news. Before we do that, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Watch it at work, watch it at home, whatever you want to do. I don't know. All right, so news. Dion says all the Buffaloes have to do for respect is win. He kind of earned my respect last weekend, the way they played TCU. And TCU evidently is going to be good this year. You see the way they played against Colorado. Yeah, I think they're for real. I don't think they'll go undefeated. May have a tough one against Nebraska. We'll see. Because if you ask me, Nebraska should have won that game against Minnesota. Was a week ago, last Thursday. Turnovers killed them. But that's always a tough game. So we're gonna find out. And Nebraska's a lot better than they were. You gotta admit that they're a lot better than they were with Matt Rule on deck. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Gonna started off last weekend. Keep on going next weekend. Ohio State coach Ryan Day says quarterback decision is still unresolved. Both McLeod and Brown will play this Saturday against Youngstown State. He's still trying to figure that one out. Virginia quarterback Tony Muskett, shoulder injury against Tennessee. He will be a game-time decision Saturday against James Madison. That's what Coach Tony Elliott said. So they're going to see what's going to happen there. Clemson coach Dabo Swinney said the Duke game was the weirdest game he has ever been a part of. Yeah, I bet it was. South Carolina linebacker Mohamed Kaba, man, out for the season with a knee injury. First game. Sucks, man. Sucks for you, man. I feel for you. Georgia might need to implement a driver's education course into their football program. Georgia football coaching staff member Jarvis Jones. Jarvis Jones, wasn't he a player there at Georgia or somewhere in the Southeast Conference? Because that name sounds really familiar. Several years back. He was arrested on charges of reckless driving and speeding less than 24 hours before that game last week. Who they play, Tennessee Martin? 86 miles an hour in a 40. So I'm guessing to Coach Kirby Smart, that is considered super speeding. Remember him back in media days for speeding and super speeding. I really hope he considers that super speeding. Okay, so I'm going to go a few, I'm not going over every game. I mean, we'll go over most of them, but the ones I watched, we're going to kind of break down a little bit. We just mentioned it. Nebraska played Minnesota really tough. Lost 13-10 last Thursday. 4 turnovers in that game. That'll kill any team, really. Very defensive game. When the offenses would get something going, defenses, both sides, seem to shut that thing down real quick. Nebraska scored a trick play. Looked like it was going to get blown up right there in the backfield, but they pulled it out somehow and scored a touchdown. Looked like old school Nebraska, and I think, if I remember right, they called that play the Osborne. So there you go. Pretty cool, though. Almost got blown up. Threw a TD pass in that one. I was pretty impressed with Nebraska's defense. Matt Rule said he's going to bring the black shirts back. Looks like he's done it because they play really well against Minnesota. I mean, we don't know what Minnesota's going to be like this year, but they're usually pretty good every year. So we'll see what happens there. Both offenses, when they finally got going, they started moving that ball really well. But like we said before, the defense would step in, kind of shut it down. So anyway, I thought it was a good game. Very good game to start off the weekend on Thursday. Friday, I didn't watch anything. I was watching high school football online here in Texas. So I didn't watch any games on Friday. Saturday, Colorado 45, TCU 42. Great game. It really, really was a great game. Second half, back and forth, if you saw that. That was pretty incredible. Buffaloes, though, they were strong from the start, from the beginning to the end. It was like a machine. It was pretty incredible. TCU, they were kind of sluggish in the first quarter. If you watch that game, We got Colorado might trample all over them. TCU finally started getting it going, and they started scoring. It finally made a game out of it. About the second quarter, I believe, if I remember right. Deion's son, quarterback. How do you say his name? Shedeur? Is that how you say it? Shedeur? Sanders? Monster game, man. 38 for 47, 510 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no interception. The other player, Travis Hunter, two-way player. I've heard two-way players, but not that many plays. This guy played, supported 141 snaps on offense and defense. I mean, that's just incredible. Offense, he had 11 catches for 119 yards. Picked one off, too, when he was playing defense. If those two guys, Sanders and Hunter, if they play like that all year, it's going to be hard. But if they were somehow maybe not the whole year, but the majority of the year, I don't see any reason why December in New York, they'd be 1 and 2. They're at the Heisman because those two guys were just played incredible. Dylan Edwards, 5 catches, 135 yards, 3 touchdowns. TCU side of the ball, Chandler Morris, he was 24 for 42, 279 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, threw 2 picks, but he also ran for a touchdown. Trey Sanders, 46 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Numbers were close, but Colorado did outpass TCU by a little bit. TCU did outrush Colorado. Only 55 rushing yards for the Buffaloes in that game. That's crazy, isn't it? Of course, it was all done through the air. 510 passing yards. Like I said, yeah, Sanders and Hunter keep that crap up all season long. I don't see why they won't be there in New York for the Heisman in December. After that one, I watched Texas and Rice because I'm a fan of Rice. Rice is just down the road, so I go to a couple other games every year. And they got JT Daniels. So I was like, hey, they got a decent quarterback. We'll see what's going to happen here. Texas ended up beating them 37-10. First half, though, that Rice defense played tough. Kept Texas in check. Rice offense couldn't really get anything going, although at halftime it was a 13-point game. The quarterback I was excited about for Rice, JT Daniels, well, kind of mediocre. 149 passing yards, touchdown, 2 interceptions. I can see why he's been bouncing around the country. I think this is Rice's third or fourth school. So, I don't know. I mean, they could probably get to a bowl game with him in the conference they're in, but against big teams like Texas, I just don't know if he's going to pan out there. On Texas side, Quinn Ewers, 19 for 30, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, ran for a touchdown. Kicker Bert Auburn kicked 3 field goals and 4 extra points for Texas, so he had a pretty good day. Rice, only 8 first downs and 176 total yards against that Texas defense. So the evening, there's quite a few games I was interested in, so I kind of bounced around between watching a little bit of one, commercial came, switched to another, commercial came, switched to the other. So I kind of bounced around, but between UTSA and U of H, West Virginia and Penn State. Did you see those U of H uniforms? Man, they paid homage to the Houston Oilers. The only difference in those uniforms, there wasn't an oil derrick on the helmet, and it didn't say Houston or Oilers on the front like they did back in the old days. But that was so cool. I really hope they bring that back. Diehard Oiler fans like me still miss them, even though we got the Texans. I don't know. After Oilers broke my heart, I just can't throw all my love behind the Texans. I'll watch the games, I'll root for them, but I won't get solely invested in them like it was the Oilers. So that was cool. I hope they do it again. I thought UTSA would win that game because of how good they are, and Frank Harris, their quarterback's pretty damn incredible. But they lost 17-14. Houston played a damn good game. Speaking of Frank Harris, he was 209 passing yards, touchdown, but he threw 3 interceptions in that game. Barnes rushed for 103 yards and a touchdown. Cephas, 123 receiving yards and touchdown. U of H, Donovan Smith was 22 for 34, 233 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. UTSA did have more total yards and more rushing yards, but had 3 turnovers and 8 penalties for 64 yards on that one. Between that one, I also went to Penn State, West Virginia. Penn State won 38-15. Penn State looked good. Quarterback Drew Aller, 21 for 29, 325 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Lambert Smith, 4 catches, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. Excuse me. West Virginia quarterback Garrett Green, 16 for 27, 162 passing yards, ran for a touchdown. Penn State looked good. It was against West Virginia, who hadn't been all that good lately. So, I mean, we'll see what they look like when they start getting into a little. I'm not don't want to degrade West Virginia, but a little bit better teams. Defense played good though. 3 sacks. Penn State only had 1 penalty for 5 yards in that game. Isn't that crazy? Like I said, we'll see about Penn State coming up these next few weeks. They got Illinois, Iowa, Ohio State, Maryland, Michigan State, all on their schedule coming up. So, finish the night with Texas Tech at Wyoming. Did you see that one? That was crazy. Wyoming beat them in 2 overtimes, 35-33. Both teams throughout the game looked pretty evenly matched up, though. Both teams made plays when they needed to make them. 7-point game at the halftime. Texas Tech quarterback Tyler Show, 31 for 47, 3 touchdowns, threw an interception. Bradley, 88 receiving yards and a touchdown. Wyoming quarterback Andrew Peasley, 18 for 34, 149 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but he ran for a TD also. Halen kicked a 56-yard field goal. Garcia for Texas Tech kicked a 54-yard field goal. So those guys are aiming high. Texas Tech did have more total yards and more passing yards, but Wyoming did outrush them in that game. So good win for Wyoming up there. Things I noticed, surprises, and other things this weekend. New rules didn't help in some of those games. Some of those games still went 3.5 plus when it came to time limit. So a lot of mistakes made, but that's not uncommon for the first week. You know, coaches will get that cleaned up. First game jitters and stuff. We see it every year. Speaking of those mistakes, a lot of 15-yard penalties. I saw a lot of them. Pass interference, roughing the passer, unsportsmanlike conduct. A lot of that this Saturday. Willing to bet more than half of that will be cleaned up for this week. All right, so like I said, some more surprises. Louisville barely beat Georgia Tech. I don't know if that's really a surprise, but kind of expected. A lot of the guys on TV said Georgia Tech was going to upset Louisville, and they came close, but no dice. Hawaii is 0-2, but they're playing a lot better this season so far. They're scoring points, getting yards. Wouldn't be surprised me if they turn this thing around and get to a bowl game. Boston College, did you see that? They paid Northern Illinois $1.1 million to come beat them 27-24 in overtime. So, well, money well spent, huh? Iowa offense looked a lot better than they have been the last couple of years. It was Utah State, and Utah State, I don't think they're going to be as good as they have been. Adding Cade McNamara, I think that's going to help the Hawkeyes. I thought East Carolina would play better against Michigan. They only scored 3 points in that one. Did you see how the first play of the game, for Michigan, the Michigan players lined up because Jim Harbaugh passed away? And wait, he didn't pass away, did he? They just lined up for... All right, well, whatever they're lining up for, my condolences to them. I knew Fresno State would give Purdue a game, but I did not think they would beat them. But they did, 39-35. Great win for Fresno State. Mikey Keene, quarterback for Fresno State, 366 passing yards, 4 touchdowns against that Purdue defense. I thought Virginia would play better against Tennessee. Thought Louisiana Tech would be competitive against SMU. Both have had great passing games. SMU did outrush La Tech 209 yards to 28 yards. SMU defense sacked La Tech's quarterback, Hank Bachmeier, 6 times. And these two usually have a good game when they play, but man, not this year. Hey, once again, Indiana gave Ohio State a tough game at home. Ohio State always seems to not play Ohio State football. They're in Bloomington. I don't know what it is, but gave them a good one. Wisconsin looked good in the Luke Fickell era. The Luke Fickell era starting. Won by 21 points. They look pretty good. Washington started slow, before scoring 28 in the second quarter to beat Boise State 56-19. Looks like they're going to have a good team this year. Auburn looked good on both sides of the ball. They beat UMass. Cincinnati looked good post Lou Fickell era. Beat Eastern Kentucky 66-13. We'll see how good they really are, though, because they got Pitt this week. Then they got Oklahoma, BYU, Central Florida, Houston, Kansas, Oklahoma State all coming up. So we're going to see how they're going to really good without Luke Fickell. Notre Dame is 2-0 now. We'll see how they do because the usual tough suspects remain on their schedule that they have just about every year. Southeast Louisiana lost to Mississippi State 48-7. I thought Southeast Louisiana would play them tougher. Southeast Louisiana, playoff team pretty much almost every year. Good team lately. I didn't think they would win, but I thought they'd put up a little more of a fight. But no Moss. I thought Oklahoma State would beat Central Arkansas by more points. They won 27-13. Vanderbilt, 2-0 to start the season. All right, you're on the way. Baylor, losing to Texas State at home. Don't know what's going on there at Baylor. Excuse me. Keep an eye on Texas State, though. New head coach G.J. Keane. He's been around. He was 12-2 at Incarnate Word last year. Got into the FCS quarterfinals. He's a good coach. Looks like he might do good things there at Texas State. And if he does, bigger schools are going to come calling. I don't know what to make of Baylor. Man, they just like picking up where they left off last year. Crazy. A&M, they looked a lot better in their home opener against New Mexico than they have in recent years. 152-10. Aggie quarterback Weidman, 5 touchdown passes in that one. Yeah, it's New Mexico. New Mexico's not as good. We're just going to say it. They're not as good. But here's the thing. If you watched any of those Texas A&M season openers the last several years, there's a few you thought they might lose because they were slow, sluggish. The plays sucked, and they got by the hair on their chin a couple of those years. Totally different this year. I think Bobby Petrino is making a difference there, and it's going to keep on going. We'll see how the rest of that season goes. Toledo, did you see that game? Toledo came close to beating Illinois at home, only losing by 2. That was crazy. I didn't get to see the whole game because I was watching other stuff. I watched the last quarter and a half, I think. They came close to beating Illinois there at home in Champaign. I thought South Carolina would beat North Carolina because in the past, week to week, you just don't know what kind of North Carolina team you're going to get. Some weeks, Drake May's on fire. Looks like a Heisman candidate. Other weeks, you're like, who's this guy playing quarterback? So I thought South Carolina would do better than that, but oh well. Virginia Tech, they look good against his Old Dominion, but they look better than they have been. Tulane beating South Alabama by 20. I thought that'd be a closer game. Both those teams were great last year. I know people leave and transfer, graduate and all that, but I really thought that'd be a closer game than that. New Mexico State, you are 1-1 now. Looking for your second bowl game. Hope you get it. UTEP bounced back, from that loss their bad coaching caused last weekend against Jacksonville State. They are 1-1 now. BYU beat Sam Houston 14-0. I really thought BYU would beat them by more, but they didn't. And same goes with UCLA beating Coastal Carolina 27-13. Both those teams are good. I thought it'd be a closer score than that, but no way. All right, so Sunday came around, and we had some games. I watched Rutgers beat Northwestern 24-7. I was really wanting to see how Northwestern would do with all the stuff that's going on this summer. Thought they played better. Thought they'd play inspired, and they have Ben Bryant, who's a decent quarterback. He made some good throws. He did for the Wildcats. The offense just couldn't score. O-line, they weren't all that great. They allowed Rutgers defense to sack Bryant 5 times in that game. Northwestern only 12 rushing yards. Gone are the days of, what's his name? Darnell Autry? Wasn't that his name that played for Northwestern? I don't know, 20, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. Gone are those days. Rutgers, Gavin Winsome threw a touchdown pass and ran for a touchdown pass. It can only go up for Northwestern. Number 18, Oregon beat San Jose State 42-17. Oregon State quarterback DJ, see if I can say his name. Probably can't because I never have been able to. Ungulele. Anyway, he had a great day. 20 for 25, 239 yards, 3 touchdowns, ran for 2 more. San Jose State, only 56 rushing yards in that game. They could not run the ball. Oregon State, 9 penalties for 85 yards. Hey, here's a cool thought, though. For the Pac-10 that's pretty much going down in flames, they won. All their teams won their openers. So that's a little bit of good news there for what's left of the Pac-12. Oh, boy. Then we came around to Sunday night. I was looking forward to this game. It was a good game for a while. It tanked real fast. Number 9, Florida State. By the way, these rankings are from before the new rankings came out. So I know LSU's not number 5 anymore. They're like, what, 17, 16? Anyway, Florida State beat LSU 45-24. LSU played a great first half. They really did. Fell apart in the second half. Really didn't get any pressure on Jordan Travis. I don't know what the deal was there. JT Daniels. No, not JT Daniels. Daniels, LSU quarterback, 22 for 37, 347 yards, touchdowns, threw a pick. Thomas had 7 catches for 142 yards and a touchdown. LSU was not good on third down, 3 for 10. 0 for 3 on fourth down, which brings me to my first point. When you're playing a good team like Florida State, LSU, fourth down and goal. Instead of going for it, I would have kicked the field goals. That's just me. When you're playing a top team, my thought is grab your points. If you can't punch it in the end zone, in a few tries, you got down left, kick the damn field goal because you never know when you're going to need it. Didn't really matter here, but the score could have been 45-30 instead of 45-24. It would have looked a little better, but hey, that's probably why I'm sitting here. I'm not coaching. All right. Jordan Travis for Florida State was great. 23 for 31, 342 yards, 4 touchdowns. Did throw an interception. Coleman had a great night. 9 catches for 122 yards, 3 touchdown catches. LSU was without I forget the guy's name. He's like missed the last 3 openers because of his grades. They needed him because their running game was not very good. It was Daniels was the only one pretty much running for LSU. Secondary he's helped too because they got torched that night. And that moves us on to Monday. Oh my gosh, did you see that what happened Monday? What a way to close out that first weekend. Duke beating Clemson 28-7. We just said how we just had Dabo Swinney said that's the weirdest game I've ever been a part of. Yeah, I bet it was. Clemson just looked disorganized. Klubnik, 27 for 43, 209 yards. He had a decent game. Touchdown. Did throw an interception. Shipley, he had a decent game. 114 rushing yards. He caught the TD pass from Klubnik. Duke came to play. They did. Great defense. Caused 2 turnovers, 3 sacks. Leonard, quarterback, 17 for 33, 175 yards, rushed for a touchdown. It was a 44-yard run for that touchdown too. Waters, 36 yards rushing, touchdown. Clemson did have better numbers in all the categories that I was looking at. Duke just kept them out of the end zone. So there you go. All right, so go through some of these games coming up real quick this weekend. Tonight, only 2 games because the NFL starts. Murray State versus Louisville. Indiana State versus Indiana. Yeah, if you're not into the NFL tonight, they might be all right. Tomorrow night looks like it'll be a pretty good one. 6:30 p.m. Central, ESPN2. Illinois, Kansas. Kansas, man, they're coming off that hot season they had last year. Looks like they might be going in the right direction. Illinois barely beat Toledo. So that could be a good one there. All right, Saturday, 10 a.m., ACC Network, or one of the ACC channels. Vanderbilt at Wake Forest. Wake Forest, slightly better passing game, but Vanderbilt does have a better rushing game. Both teams are pretty even in stats, too, if you look them up. So that could be a good one there. 11 a.m., ABC. Number 13, Notre Dame at NC State. Notre Dame, they got more yards and more passing yards per game. Pretty much even. These teams are even in the rushing game, so that could be a good one. 11 a.m., ACC Net. I guess it's one of the ACC channels. Holy Cross at Boston College. Why did I put that one down? Because of what happened to Boston College last Saturday. Lost at home to Northern Illinois. Holy Cross is a good AFCS team. They're a playoff team. Not saying they're going to beat Boston College, but there is a good chance they could, or give them one heck of a game. 11 a.m., ESPN2, Purdue at Virginia Tech. Can Purdue bounce back after that heartbreaking loss there in West Lafayette? We'll see. Virginia Tech playing a little better. 11 a.m. Fox, the one a lot of people are talking about. Nebraska at Colorado. Like I said, Nebraska should have beat Minnesota. Turnovers just killed them. So, Nebraska playing better. We saw what Colorado did last weekend. That'd be a pretty damn good game. Good old, remember the old Big 8? Good Big 8 matchup. 11 a.m. FS1. Fox Sports 1. Troy at number 16, Kansas State. Troy is a good team. Could be an upset. You never know. Beginning of the year, still working on things. 11 a.m. ESPN. It just does not get any easier for Baylor. They got Utah coming. Wouldn't that be something if Baylor beat Utah? So, hey, we're not dead yet. 2:30 p.m. ABC, number 23, Texas A&M. Going to Miami, play the Hurricanes in that god-awful stadium. They have got to get an on-campus stadium or something near the campus. That Dolphin Stadium, was it now Hard Rock or Joe Robbie Pro Player, whatever they call it now? That has got to be one of the ugliest stadiums I've ever seen. And half the time when Miami plays there, you see empty seats everywhere. I mean, they got to get something and try to recreate those old Orange Bowl days. Anyway, A&M's going there to play them. Miami's better at rushing, but they are even in most of the other categories. 2:30 ACC, Western Michigan at Syracuse. Western Michigan, watch out. 2:30 on Fox. The Cy-Hawk Trophy is up for grabs. Iowa and Iowa State. Always a good rivalry game. 2:30 p.m. CBS, UNLV at number 2 Michigan. Michigan got a better passing game, but UNLV can run the ball. So watch that one. 2:30 ESPN2, number 22 Ole Miss. Well, they were 22. They probably moved up since then. At Tulane. Tulane is a great team. We saw what they did last year. We saw what they're doing this year. Might be an upset brewing there. If you don't watch it, just keep an eye on the score, see what's happening. Both have great quarterbacks. Both have good rushing games. Might be a good one to watch. 2:30 p.m. Eastern. I'll put Texas State versus UTSA because we know how good UTSA is, even though they lost last week. Looks like a pretty good Houston team. Texas State, go and beat Baylor. They're on the rise. Those two were just San Marcos and San Antonio. They're, 30 minutes, 25 minutes apart. Good I-35 battle there. Let's see. 4 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus. Southeast Louisiana, South Alabama. Two good teams that lost last week looking for a win. 4 p.m. Pac-12 Network. Tulsa at number 8 Washington. Tulsa, they're a good passing game. So is Washington. You see Penix Jr., what he does. 4:15 p.m. ACC Network. Appalachian State at North Carolina. Appalachian State. They've been a giant killer the last 15 years or so. Beating teams. So they're going to North Carolina. You know they won another one. They won another win against a big team. 5 p.m. ACC Network. Lafayette, number 21, Duke. Keep an eye on that one. See if Duke's got a Clemson hangover left over. So, you never know. Lafayette might come up and bite them. 5 p.m. Eastern, SMU at number 18, Oklahoma. That could be an interesting game. Both got good passing games. 5 p.m. Eastern, 1-1 North Mexico State at 1-0 Liberty. We know how good Liberty is, and New Mexico State. They want to go to another bowl game, so they're going to play tough every game. 5 p.m. ESPN Plus, 1-1 Ohio. Not a bad team at Florida Atlantic. Could be a good one. 5:30 p.m. I do not know what this means, but next to the game it says The. I guess there's a network The. Is there online streaming The? Whatever. This game should be on TV. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Why it's on The, I don't know. So, if you've got The, you're lucky enough to watch it. 6 p.m. ESPN. A lot of the ones people are talking about. Texas at Alabama. How will it go this year? Remains to be seen. 6 p.m. NFL Network. Houston at Rice. It's a big game here down the road in Houston. The Bayou Bucket, they call it. Bayou Bucket is the trophy. They always play each other pretty good. And Rice, after losing last week, this would really, really make their season if they could go 1-1 and win that Bayou Bucket trophy. 6 p.m. Fox, Oregon at Texas Tech. Bo Nix, great quarterback, but Jones Stadium, I don't know. There's something about Texas Tech's Jones Stadium. A lot of teams go there and die. So, keep an eye on that one if you don't watch it. Keep an eye on that score. 6 p.m. Fox Sports 1, Central Florida at Boise State. Boise at home is always pretty tough. Looking for their first win after losing to Washington last week. 6:30, Big Ten Network. Eastern Michigan at Minnesota. Teams are pretty even in stats. See if Eastern Michigan can go into Minneapolis and get themselves a win. 6:30 ABC. Wisconsin at Washington State. Might be pretty good. Washington State looks to be a good team. 6:30 on the SEC Network. Arizona at Mississippi State. Both 1-0. 6:30 p.m. on CBS. UCLA at San Diego State. San Diego State's a good team. They like to knock UCLA off. Could be pretty good. 9:30 p.m. ESPN. Auburn at Cal. It's a long flight out there. 9:30 p.m. for Fox Sports 1. Oklahoma State at Arizona State. That might be a pretty good game. And 9:30 on Fox. Stanford at USC. Stanford hasn't been Stanford in a while. I don't know what happened over there. David Shaw's a great coach. I just don't know what happened. And then USC, we know how good they are. Now, Hawaii does have a home game, but it's a late home game. But after teasing us with it being on TV, what was that, last week before? I think it was last week. They're going to put it back on their little streaming crap they want you to pay for. So, it's up to you whether or not you want to pay for it. I wouldn't personally, but hey, that's just me. All right, that is it. Man, Thursday, we're about halfway there. Depending on where you live, it might be halfway. Weekend's coming up. Got some great football. Be safe, have fun, enjoy the weekend. We'll see you back next time.